My name is Janice McCarthy, as you know, and I'm running for town council. And I'm running because I firmly believe, and I hope others believe, that there has to be more than one voice at any level, one voice, one viewpoint, more than one idea, at any level of government, if government is going to be as efficient and as effective as it can be. It must be transparent, it must have checks and balances, and it must reflect the diversity of the community. Clearly, the current government of Parsippany, and town council and mayor, don't reflect Parsippany's community. It lacks transparency, it lacks checks and balances, and it doesn't reflect the citizens of Parsippany. We have very little dissent and less substantive debate. So there's one voice, there's one viewpoint, we have a rubber stamp government.
Good morning, folks. Tom Wyka. As Janice said at Town Hall, we definitely have actually the most expensive rubber stamp that anyone's ever seen. We call it the Parsippany Town Council. The mayor rents it at a price of about $65,000 a year, with very little dissent and very little substantive debate. You know, we watch and discussed at other parts of the state, especially places where we have one-party rule, all the misdeeds and scandals that we see going on, and yet we don't even see the ethical slippage that's happening sometimes in our own backyard. Right now, you know, we're engaged enough to go down to a Board of Ed meeting and protest tens of thousands of dollars that go to our school administrator, and yet we're slipping under our noses all the time. There's hundreds of thousands of dollars that this town council is squandering for the most despicable reasons. The case in point that I want to illustrate in particular is the purchase of Morris County Joint Insurance Fund liability insurance. At the end of 2008, the council was tasked with voting on a new liability insurance carrier, and we were presented with three proposals from the mayor. Travelers Insurance at about $950,000 a year for a one-year contract. Statewide insurance at $1.1 million premium for 1 year, and the Morris County Joint Insurance Fund at $1.2 million premium for a 3-year contract. You know, presenting for the Morris County JIF was this dozen-strong entourage of people, elected officials and commissioners all over Morris County. Chief among them, Betty Lou DeCroce, who is actually the wife of our prominent Republican minority leader here in Parsippany, Alex DeCroce, and ex-state Republican Senator John Dorsey. Betty Lou DeCroce was presumptuously armed with this pre-printed resolution that talked about how the council was impressed with the Morris County JIF. And Councilman Fox, who had been lobbying for the JIF the whole time, was actually trying to expedite the vote during that meeting, saying, you know, I consider these people our friends, I consider them our family. So which policy do you think the council ended up choosing that night? You had guessed it. It was Morris County JIF at $1.2 million over a 3-year deal. Fully $750,000 wasted. And as a result of reporting by the press and concerned citizens, the council was actually brought up under investigation by the state comptroller's office, who said this was an egregious violation of public trust. You cannot waste taxpayer dollars on the friends and family plan, is what they actually said. So Mr. Fox's arrogant reply to the comptroller, he said, I'd do it again. Folks, we can do better than this because we are better than this.
And though Tom and Janice painted a pretty grim picture of what our local government looks like today, we don't have to continue this way. That's why Janice, Tom, and I are running. We're here to offer Parsippany an uncompromised perspective on the council and some common sense leadership. We're running because we believe in fiscal responsibility, and that includes efficient and responsible budgeting practices. The administration has instituted some very misleading budgeting practices in 2011, and that's just the type of thing that we would work hard to prevent when elected. 3 years ago, as you might remember, the council and the mayor increased our sewer fees by 52%. However, today, the sewer surplus has more than $5.6 million. Instead of reducing the sewer fee or offering a credit to users like you and I, what they decided to do instead, the mayor is moving $700,000 from that sewer surplus to pay our operating expenses this year. This is the type of gimmick and the type of year-to-year emergency tactics that are not in the best interest of Parsippany. They are misleading and they are without long-term vision for the needs of our community. We can't afford to have these types of practices. Instead, on council, we would create responsible budgeting policies that would prevent the mayor from using budgeting gimmicks like skimming the sewer plant to pay off our operating expenses. Instead, each budgeting year, we need to consider the Parsippany today, as well as the Parsippany that we envision 5, 10, and 20 years from now. We're also running because we believe Parsippany's most valuable resource is our people. In today's economy, we need to be actively engaging all of our citizens to identify new solutions to local challenges. We should be revitalizing our committee system and using technology to connect with our community and solicit feedback and ideas that can make Parsippany become stronger, cleaner, and better connected. This knowledge and collective experience of our community is nearly all but wasted. The council creates committees without any true intent on utilizing those volunteers. The Economic Development Committee is a shining example of this lack of follow-through. The council was rushing to approve this committee in October 2009, which was just before the mayoral election in that time. And the intent of the committee was to provide guidance and advice to the administration and provide a plan of action for how to increase the number of businesses in town and fill empty office spaces. Despite the council's claims at that time of the dire importance of this committee, today, more than 15 months later, the committee has yet to be called to order. We can't take this type of half-hearted approach to our committee system. In council, we will work hard to create meaningful opportunities for community involvement that have both a clear purpose as well as a timeline. Today's economy requires an optimization of resources, and again, that includes the knowledge and expertise of Parsippany residents like all of you today. Finally, we're running because we believe in open, accessible government. As Janice and Tom both began in their remarks, both transparency and balance are critical in achieving efficient and effective government. Understanding what our tax dollars fund is our right as citizens. This year, the council scheduled budgeting hearings during the weekday at 3 and 4 p.m. and then on Saturday morning. Especially in light of today's tenuous job market, having a resident have to choose between either attending a budget meeting or taking a personal day is ridiculous. It shouldn't be that hard to learn what's going on with the budget in our town. There are a lot of ways that we can use the web to accomplish this type of more accessible government. But at the same time, that's not to say that we throw our budget out the window to achieve these types of goals. We as a team are committed to cost-effective transparency, and that means finding creative ways to reorganize information and to make it easier for everyone to understand how our government works and where our tax dollars are spent. This is the type of leadership, common sense leadership that we need. A fresh perspective that helps promote open, accessible government in Parsippany and makes it our government more useful and convenient to members of the community like you all today.
And you know, as Annelise was saying, open government is so vitally important because some of the misdeeds that we've been witnessing, aren't likely to happen if we had leadership that was sincerely dedicated to transparency and open debate. It's what Louis Brandeis told us when he said, sunlight is the best disinfectant. It's what Thomas Jefferson said when he said, an informed democracy will behave responsibly. That was Jefferson's dream, that if we're informed, we can have that right of self-determination and we will do it responsibly. But sadly, we don't have leaders that are sincerely dedicated to transparency. What they're more interested right now is self-promotion and grandstanding that actually looks like a dedication to transparency, but it's really smoke and mirrors. Just smoke and mirrors, folks. Let me, in particular, take a look at one of those mirrors. Namely, this $22,000 vanity mirror that Mr. Barbario just bought from a company called Alpha Dog Solutions, which we call our town website. For the price of a part-time worker annually, we get a template website for the town. It's not custom designed. It looks exactly like Lodi, New Jersey's. It's identical to it. Aside from coming out each month, Alpha Dog will come out each month and do a photo op for the mayor. We get nothing more contractually from this vendor than he could have gotten from the previous vendor for $75 an hour. We can do better than this, folks, because we are better than this. Parsippany is better than this. And what about blowing smoke instead of real transparency? Well, here's a great example. In 2009, when I was pushing to get the pay-to-play reform on the ballot because the entire council was repeatedly rejecting the idea, Mr. Cicero caught government integrity fervor and brought forth the Transparency Committee ordinance. He wanted to put all financial information on the internet for the public to see, and he established this advisory committee to drive that purpose. Mayor Luther appointed two very well-qualified people to serve on that committee who make their living in the internet industry, Ms. Catanzaro and myself. And we already have exemplary leadership skills and a passion for this type of work. But in response, Mr. Cicero and the mayor refused to seat the committee for over a year. And in the end, retroactively decided to cut short our terms. We were able to attend one meeting, but then we were prevented from knowing whether the committee was going to ever meet again and produce the report that they were statutorily bound to create. Ironically, the only other person that might have talked sense to the mayor about this $22,000 website was another member of the Transparency Committee, Mr. Tom Roman, the former webmaster. You see, the mayor went out and bought this $22,000 site without consulting with anyone else, any competitive vendor, or even the town's previous webmaster. But you know something, folks? Sunlight finds its way through the efforts of people that are sincerely dedicated to transparency. Right now on our website, we have the complete year-to-date check register in searchable spreadsheet format for anyone to see. Every expenditure that the town makes. It was created by a citizen's open request to the town chief financial officer, and about 5 minutes of tweaking in common software. We've achieved more transparency in 5 minutes than the mayor and Mr. Cicero's committee achieved in more than a year since they passed the ordinance. And we didn't need a $22,000 website to do it. That's cost-effective transparency. That's how we can do better for Parsippany. That's how we are better.
Thank you, Tom and Annelise. I'd just like to say in closing, when you only have one voice of like-minded people, you have a poor decision-making process, intentional or not. We can't afford to continue these bad practices and misuse limited resources for the benefit of the few, like the council's decision on the insurance policy, which is coming up for renewal this year, by the way, and no bid webmaster, summarily dismissing the Transparency Committee, or reversing pay reform, as Tom pointed out in his comments. Annelise discussed fiscal responsibility, sound budget practices. She discussed engagement and inclusion of our citizens. Is the mayor really under the 2% cap when he defers pensions, when he takes funds from the sewer reserve? Is this fiscal responsibility, or is this gimmickry? Is it inclusion when you have budget meetings at 3 p.m. in the afternoon? Tom's right, we can do better than this. And the citizens can't afford to continue these bad practices. Our hope is that you believe what we believe and that you'll support us on our ticket. We need your help, so anything you can do to support Annelise, Tom, and I is greatly appreciated. There's many things that you can do. First of all, we'd appreciate it if you would sign our volunteer list so we can keep in touch with you. It'd be fantastic if you could make a donation. Just write a check to Vote Parsippany. There's some other things you can do. If you'd like, you can have a house party or a community event. We'd love to meet your friends and neighbors. Just let us know and we'll help out. Also, if you would consider a fundraiser at any amount you're comfortable with, even $5. Again, thank you so much for coming today. And remember, vote Catanzaro, vote Wyka, vote McCarthy, vote Parsippany.